With the long-awaited arrival of Avengers Infinity War, this film, like all Marvel movies, it brings with it several callbacks and Easter eggs for its fans. So today, we're going to take a look at many of these Easter eggs and references that you may have missed in Avengers Infinity War. And of course, massive spoilers ahead. Snapping into oblivion. In the film, Thanos, after acquiring the Infinity Stones, he snaps his fingers, which kills half of all life in the universe. This is a direct reference to the comics, where Thanos does the same gesture. We have a Hulk. In one scene, Loki says this famous line, which is a nod to the first Avengers movie, where Tony Stark, Iron Man, says the same thing to him. Hulk's crash landing. Bruce Banner, the Hulk, crashes into Doctor Strange's sanctum. In the comic, Silver Surfer makes a similar entrance in order to warn the Avengers of Thanos' plans. Son of Iron Man. When Tony and Pepper walk through Central Park, Tony says he would like to name his future child Morgan. This is in reference to his cousin Morgan in the comics. Model 38. The armor that Iron Man uses in this film is similar to the Bleeding Edge armor from the comics. This armor is put together with nanobots that are in Tony Stark's bloodstream. Squidward. When Ebony Maw is introduced to our heroes, Tony eccentrically nicknames him Squidward, the famous squid from the SpongeBob SquarePants animated show. Die Hard. When Tony pushes Spider-Man out of Ebony Maw's ship, he says, "Happy trails." Another iconic line from one of the greatest action films of all time, Die Hard. A line Bruce Willis uses after shooting Hans Gruber at the end of the film. The God of Thunder meets the Guardians of the Galaxy. When Thor is found by the Guardians of the Galaxy, this scene is done in a very similar fashion to how they meet in the comics after the Guardians found the God of Thunder lost in space. Arcade Defender. In the film, Groot spends much of its time playing a handheld game called Arcade Defenders, a game that is oddly familiar to a 1980s classic arcade game named Defenders, where the player must defend Earth from falling asteroids and alien invaders. Footloose. In one scene, Mantis mentions the actor Kevin Bacon in reference to the movie Footloose, which was also referenced in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. It is once again mentioned near the end of Infinity War, when Spider-Man mentions the film, and Star-Lord asks him if Footloose is still the best movie of all time, to which Spider-Man replies that it never was. Cardboard cutouts. There is an odd moment in the film where Thanos transforms Drax and Mantis into cardboard cutouts of themselves. In the comics, Thanos also does this, but to Nebula and to his brother, Star Fox. The Chitauri. During the Gamora flashback scene, we can see the Chitauri Armada, the same alien race that Thanos loaned to Loki in the invasion of Earth in the first Avengers movie. Running away. When Wanda and Vision are talking about escaping together, this may be a reference to the comics, where they do exactly that. Film geek. In Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man uses his extensive knowledge of movies and popular culture in order to defeat a giant enemy. In this film, a sequence from the movie Aliens is duplicated when they defeat Ebony Maw. Similar when he tells Mantis to not lay eggs in his chest, he is referring to how the xenomorphs come out of their victims' chests. Flash from the past. Tony Stark calls Star-Lord Flash Gordon, referring to the well-known character who shares a similar story to that of Peter Quill. An overbearing father. Just like in the comics, there is a scene where Thanos is torturing Nebula, though the method in the film is different from the comic. Red Skull lives. In one scene, there is a mysterious hooded person who then soon reveals himself to be the missing Red Skull. His last scene in the first Captain America movie, we saw him seemingly disappear at the end of the movie. Family reunion. Thanos meets little girl Gamora in what appears to be a pocket universe within the Soul Stone, a reference from when Gamora's soul was absorbed into the Soul Stone by Adam Warlock. Strange spells. During the battle against Thanos, Doctor Strange uses the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak spell, which is one of his common attacks in the comics. He also uses the Images of Icon, a spell that creates duplicates of himself to confuse his enemy. Web in your eye. Another nod to the Infinity Gauntlet comics came when Spider-Man webbed the face of the Crazy Titan before he was thrown to the ground. Goodbye Vision. Vision's death in Infinity War is very similar to his death in the Infinity Gauntlet comic. After Vision is defeated, he adopts a monochrome look, in reference to one of his incarnations in the comics. The Stormbreaker. When Thor travels to Nidavellir to acquire a new weapon, he is given the Stormbreaker, which is the film version of the weapon that in the comics belongs to Beta Ray Bill. Though the Stormbreaker in the MCU looks more like the hammer of Thor in the Ultimate Universe of comics. God vs. Titan. Near the end of the film, Thor confronts Thanos, another scene taken directly from the comic book where Thanos and Thor face each other in an epic battle. The Black Order. This supervillain team made their first appearance in the comic Infinity No. 1. Coincidentally, their first appearance in the MCU is in the Avengers Infinity War. Thanos the Farmer? After his victory at the end of Infinity War, the Titan Thanos decides to retire to a farm. In the Infinity Gauntlet comic, he does the same, but only after losing to the heroes. He even makes a scarecrow with his armor in both film and comic. Fury's SOS. In the post-credits scene, Nick Fury and Amanda Hill manages to send out a warning to Captain Marvel just before they disappear. Fury uses an antiquated 1990s beeper to send the distress call. Why a beeper? Because Captain Marvel's movie takes place during the 1990s, where beepers were a common luxury. Are there any other Easter eggs or callbacks that we missed? If so, please leave them in the comments below. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and have a marvelous day.